And in 1995, I was in a psychiatric institution with major anxiety disorder, panic disorder, PTSD, and depression. So welcome to the conference. I'm so happy you're here.
And so I don't mean to be flip, I really don't, but it's my story and I'm not ashamed, I'm not embarrassed. It's why I'm here with you today.
I am Tammy West, and that is my story. Welcome to Consider Yourself Hugged, a place to find comfort and support as you navigate your mental and emotional well-being. So sit back and relax, unless you're driving, and get ready for this week's hug. Hello, my fellow huggers. Welcome to week 2 of Mental Health Awareness Month. Gosh, I feel like this is the biggest month of the year for my content and what I do. It's the busiest month of the year. And I feel like I fell short a little bit last week. I had planned to start Mental Health Awareness Month with that webinar or the podcast recording that you heard with Dr. Jennifer, which was amazing. And I'm so glad I got it out. But I don't think I really did it justice in kicking off Mental Health Awareness Month. So I'm going to say now, please go back if you have not listened to last week's episode, which was week 1, Mental Health Awareness Month, is meditation. And she talks about so many interesting things, like writing is meditation. And she tells these great stories. And it's just such a great way for us to just dive into this month where we are focusing on just mental health overall. So that was one thing I wanted to start with. And the second thing, I haven't quite wrapped my mind around how this is going to come out, but I had these 2 really interesting experiences. I did a mental health 3-hour workshop for leaders at a government level or at a government organization. And it was so interesting because they were not taking care of themselves, right? And I did all this research on leaders. And believe it or not, if you're a leader, you probably will believe it, there's not a lot of research out there about mental health and leaders, except leaders' mental health as it relates to their team members, their employees, people who follow them. So all of the research was about, you should set a good example and take care of yourself so that you will, your employees will feel safe to follow. Okay, that's true. But the only research that I found about leaders' mental health is that the perception of people in leadership positions, now this is just one study, but literally it was the only one I found since COVID. All of my mental health research, I really want it to be like post-COVID, but it's the only one I found specifically about leaders' mental health. And so it was the perception that leaders have good mental health. And they have good mental health because they're in a leadership position, and also because they have better access to resources than non-leaders. And I was like, wow. So I was talking about this to my leaders in my group, and it was funny because they didn't have a lot to say about it. And when we were going through some of the choices that they could make about taking care of their own selves, they still related it to how that would affect their team. And I thought that was really fantastic. But I really, when I talk about mental health, I want people to think of it also in light of just taking care of themselves. You know, the whole analogy of putting on your oxygen mask before you put on somebody else's is so good, or so that it's good. But the bottom line about that is, take care of yourself only so you can take care of other people. Do you know what I mean? So that's great. I want us all to take good care of ourselves so that we can be there for our colleagues, our team members, our family, our friends, our church, our school, whatever it is. That's great. But also just take care of yourselves. So that was one experience. And then I had a phone call with a potential upcoming mental health workshop for a group, and they were telling me that they were struggling because in their state, there's been this new spotlight on mental health, which is great, and mental health days, taking mental health days, which is great. but they are struggling in their organization to get all of their tasks covered, to get all of the work done, because so many people are taking mental health days and they feel like some of these mental health days are just, I'm going to go lay by the pool. I'm going to go get a massage. Okay, so it's really hard for me. Like, and it was hard for them too, because they were like, we want our employees to have good mental health. We really do. And I could tell that. I could hear it in their voices. We want them to have good mental health. But if we question it at all, right? Like if we question the mental health day, and I filled in, I actually completed the sentence. I said, you're a monster. And they're like, yeah, we feel like monsters if we question it. So this is tough. And there's a reason I bring this up now, and I'll explain to you in just a minute. But I don't want the mental health conversation to shift where it becomes a mockery, right? Like you might be thinking, well, sometimes I need a mental health day to lay by the pool. I don't know. I think, coming from a background of serious mental health issues, right? I mean, if you are struggling mentally with some of the signs and symptoms that we've talked about, but just to take the day off to lay by the pool, just to take the day off to go get a massage, I don't know if that's what the days are there for. I don't know. I hope you're hearing my heart, because I am all about mental health, but I don't want it to become a thing where people start taking days off just for the fun of it. And then we start shifting the other direction of looking at it as a negative thing. Having said that, I don't know why I said having said that. That's one of those phrases I never say. But all of you know, if you listen to me at all, that I am a mental health first aider. I'm an instructor. I'm a certified first aider. And so I'm all about the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, who sponsors this course. So of course, with Mental Health Awareness Month, they have this whole toolkit. And let me make myself a note. I need to put a link in the show notes if you want to go download that. It has lots of other things other than what I'm going to talk about for the next 3 weeks. But for the next 3 weeks, I am going to base it on their suggestions. So I'll put that in there, and I'll put links to mental health first aid, all of the things. But I did want to back up because I didn't talk about their suggestion for week 1. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start with me just recapping what the suggestion was to celebrate week 1. And then we're going to talk about week 2. And you've heard me, I think anyway, I've talked so many times about having discovered mindfulness and meditation back in August. So we're going to end today with a 3-minute mindfulness moment. So if you're at home or you're at work and you're listening and you have 3 minutes where you can just shut the door, turn out the light, or anything, just get comfortable, wonderful. If you're driving, no, okay, unless you pull over. So that's the way today is going to go. Let's go back to week 1. I want to read a couple of statistics to you because I think it's staggering. So, and I'll put the link to the study as well. It was 2022. So here are some of the stats. Nearly 50 million people aged 12 and older in the US indicated having a substance use disorder. Okay, all these are US statistics, and I'm only going to quote the adult ones. There's youth ones as well, but I don't really focus on that. All right. 60 million adults had any mental illness defined as mental, behavioral, or emotional disorder. Okay, so it's self-report. The bad part, I mean, that's bad enough, but not enough people are getting care. According to the same study, 1 in 4 people had received substance use disorder treatment that they needed, and only half of the adults received the necessary mental health treatment. Listen, I've shared with you, I started back on my anxiety medication, well, antidepressant, Zoloft. No, Lexapro. Yeah, Lexapro. About a year ago, I guess maybe a year and a half into the pandemic, I was on and then I went off of it and then I went back on. But when I went off, it was only a few months. Now it's been, I want to say maybe a year, and I've been in counseling, and I made the decision to start weaning off very slowly. I told my doctor why, I told my therapist why, and it's been very, very good. I feel like I am getting the treatment that I needed. And if the treatment that I needed was medication for the rest of my life, then so be it. But I knew, having been off of medication for like 25 years, that it was probably a situational thing that I would eventually get through. It was just that I had no tools or skills, and my brain chemistry was all out of whack during the pandemic. It was just too much for me. And since, I've learned so much. But that doesn't mean that a year from now, 5 years from now, I don't know. It's a journey. But I want people to get the care that they need. And so they have 4 things. So that week number 1 is raise your voice and advocate for change. And that's why we started with the statistics, just to know that there's a lot out there. So the 4 things to advocate and stay informed are these. Number 1 is to sign up for their advocacy alerts. And this is where you can be notified, which I haven't done these things, by the way, but I'm going to. You can be notified when there are opportunities to contact elected officials, when key bills are coming up, breaking federal mental health and substance use policy. All of this you can have available to you through the links, which again, I haven't done, but I'm going to. Number 2, lend your voice, share your story, and show your support of their advocacy priorities and policies that remove barriers to treatment. Number 3, learn about innovative, certified community behavioral health clinics and how they're helping to improve access to mental health and substance use care. That's another link. And then number 4, which I'm really excited about, is they have an advocacy handbook that you can download for tips, tricks, templates, things to be an advocate in your community. So if you're interested at all in advocating, then this is the place to go. So, oh, sorry, I have to get my little kitty cat out of the way. If you haven't seen Lisi before, meow, this is her. All right, if you're not on YouTube, you're not seeing her. So week number 1, which was technically last week, was basically just being informed. Raise your voice, advocate for change. I don't know if everybody wants to do that, but week 2 is something we all need to do. Week 2, lead by example and prioritize your self-care. I just did, making myself a note, I think I did 2 or 3 episodes a few weeks ago about what holds you back from doing self-care and gave you some tips. So I'll put links to those. But this was really good. Not that mine wasn't, but these are things I talked about a little bit, but maybe not too much. 4 things. Okay. Number 1 is to refer to the National Council's activity calendar. Okay, I'm holding this up on YouTube. So I'll put a link to this entire workbook that I downloaded from the National Council about Mental Health Awareness Month. I'll go ahead and upload the calendar in case you don't want to download the whole thing. I love it. For example, today, which is the day I'm recording, May 6th, meditate for 10 minutes. Well, I've already done 5 this morning, and then we're going to do 3 today. So when you're seeing this on Wednesday, May 8th, unplug from screens for an hour. So it's just like there's cook a healthy meal on one day, write yourself a love letter, do something kind, watch a funny movie. I mean, and it's one thing a day. One thing a day. So that's the first one. I'm going to skip number 2, come back to it in just a minute. Number 3, use relaxation exercises like meditation and deep breathing to help you unwind, stay present, and centered. If you haven't heard me, the quick story as to why this is so important to me, August of last year, I did a 3-minute mindfulness breathing YouTube video, which we're going to do today, with teachers. I was doing it all week. I did 3 classes a day on mental health for 5 days. So I did it 15 times. I just did it with them. And by the end of the week, that's been September, October, November, December, January, February. It's been 9 months ago. And I have a 3-minute and a 5-minute, and I have 2 more on my YouTube channel. I have a playlist. I love it. Now, I don't do it every single day. I would say 90% of days. Sometimes my mind wanders the whole time, but it's okay. Sometimes it doesn't wander at all, but it centers me and lets me know that it's okay to take 3 minutes, 5 minutes. One of my 5-minute one is Christian, so it has scripture in it, and it's also comforting to me. And it goes through breathing as well, a little bit, not necessarily deep breathing. I also put a link, you may not know, but I do webinars, like a lot of webinars every month for Support Link, which is part of CurlLink Healthcare. It's an EAP program. And they have these toolkits that anybody can access. So I'm going to send you, I'll put in the show notes a couple of links to the breathing ones on there. Really, really good. Number 4, try to do at least one relaxing activity each day. A short walk, listening to music, reading or journaling for 30 minutes. It's beneficial as a regular routine, but also in times when you're feeling overwhelmed. Just stop. Now let me go back to number 2. This is the one that I was struggling with a little bit after my conversation with this company. Number 2 is take a mental health day from work this month. Plan time away from the stress of your workload to nurture your mental well-being. I guess what I'm struggling with there is like a mental health day. Is it because you're struggling, or do you just want to take the day off to go have fun? I think either of those is fine. But again, I want us to be careful about the way we define mental health days, because we don't want them to go away because people are taking advantage of them. Yikes. I feel weird even saying it. But again, I hope you're feeling what I'm saying. All right. So with those things out of the way, I want you again, if you're driving, no, or pull over. You might even want to just stop, fast forward through 3 minutes if you're driving, because I don't want you to get accidentally relaxed. But I am going to share this video. If you're on YouTube, you can see it. But even if you're just listening, you'll be able to hear it. Relax, dim the lights, and see what it feels like for just 3 minutes. Here we go.
Take a deep breath and close your eyes. Simply focus on your breathing. In and out. We're going to use breathing to keep us in the present moment. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. As you inhale, feel the breath moving inside you, making your stomach and chest expand. As you exhale, feel the tension in your body, the negative thoughts, the stress of your day leaving you. Feel yourself connecting to the ground, to the earth, to your soul. Feel your shoulders slumping and your body relaxing. Slowly relax the muscles in your neck, your eyes, your jaw, and your forehead. Keep your focus on your breathing. The coolness of the air as you inhale, and the warmth of the air as you exhale. Bring more focus to your thoughts. Let your thoughts flow like a warm breeze on a winter day. Notice them, but then let them go. Don't worry or focus too much on the thoughts drifting through your mind. Listen to the sounds around you. Take notice of how your body feels. Bring your attention back to your breathing. Be in the moment. Feel yourself relaxing. Breathe deeply in and out slowly. Now gently open your eyes and come back to the present.
How was that? I would love to hear if you enjoyed that, even if, if your mind wandered, that's okay. But I will tell you, for years, I was so resistant. I mean, I don't think I was outwardly resistant, but I just didn't think, it was like, yeah, how is that going to help? But we know the research shows that it helps with pain relief, with relaxation, with mental health, with all of those things. So join me this week in using your calendar and committing to taking care of yourself and committing to your mental health and leading by example and just making the world a better place. So thank you for joining me as always. Thank you for subscribing and downloading and rating and reviewing. I would love to see your comments, whether it's on the show notes in the blog, if it's on Facebook, if it's by email, anything at all. I would love to hear what you have to say. Thank you so much for joining me. And as we always say, until we're together next time, consider yourself hugged.